Hi everyone, this is Trish from McGilliCrafts. I'm making my first video today to show you how to make my super popular velvet scrunchies. So to make these scrunchies today, all you need is a Bernat velvet yarn. I love how the colors in the crushed velvet work out. As you can see here, it's beautiful and variegated around, so the colors just blend really nice with the way the velvet goes together. So to make these scrunchies, I use a thick elastic. Black just goes well with all the colors. And I just stretch it a couple times and make sure that it's not going to break and the seal is good there on the end. So to make these, you need a 5.5mm crochet hook. You'll see here I'm using a Knit Picks wooden hook. And then you'll need a yarn needle and then some scissors. So to make these scrunchies, you take your velvet yarn. And a key point to mention when you're making these scrunchies is that your tension needs to be quite tight. So if your tension gets looser in any point all the way around, you'll start seeing that this type of yarn will pull funny and kind of bubble. So it's just really important to be consistent all the way around. So I take my scrunchie and I insert my hook through the elastic, and I pull the yarn through to the other side with the tail. So you want to make sure that your tail is quite long. Then you chain 2, holding that tail down. Then you'll double crochet 5, holding that tail down right next to that elastic band so that it just travels along with it. So I usually do about 5 or so double crochets with the tail adjoining to the elastic there. So now I stop crocheting with the tail and I just keep going all the way around this elastic until you have about 50 or so double crochets. This is kind of a preference. So if you prefer your scrunchies to be really, really ruffled and full, you can do that. The more you add to it, the more the elastic underneath stretches and the less times you'll be able to wrap your hair with it when you're using it. So I prefer to have around 50, maybe 55, depending on how it works up in the end. And sometimes it'll differ depending on the type of elastic you use. This one here I did in a Bernat velvet crushed in a baby weight, and so it's just a bit finer, and I had to do more than 50 for sure on this one because it was just looking too flat. So to get those nice ruffles, just keep doing your double crochets around the elastic, and then I'll show you what I do at the end. So when I get close to the end, filling up the elastic, I push down my double crochets and stretch the elastic a bit to get them to ruffle that way. So now I see I have a whole bunch more here where I can fill up. So this is where it just depends on your preference and what you would like. I like to make a consistent ruffle all the way around, so I'll just keep going here till I get to the end and squish it up and see how I like it. Here I'm getting closer to the end again. I'm just going to squish it. It's quite ruffled. I'll add some more here. Okay, so here I am at the end. It's nice and ruffled all the way around. I'll join with a slip stitch to the very top. The very first double crochet on the scrunchie here, and then I'll cut my yarn, leave a long tail, and then I yarn over and pull through, and then I'm done. So now I take my yarn needle and I put the tail that I just finished off with, and I'll insert it through the stitch at the top and weave it down next to the elastic. And then I'll take my yarn needle and I'll insert the tail through against the elastic so that it's beside it. And I pop it out just before or just after the tail that we crocheted around for the first 5 or so stitches. Then I'll knot this with both tails here together. I'll knot them together. Don't pull too tight on the one that you crocheted with at the that you weaved in at the end. If you pull too tight, this part won't look even and it'll have a dip. So just be aware of that. I just cut my tails to be even. I'll insert my needle next to the elastic so I can feel it down back towards where I started. And I take my ends and I put them through my needle and I'll pull through and then just cut your ends and then you're done. And there you have it. You have a beautiful velvet elastic hairband. It's not too bulky. It holds quite a fair amount of hair, and I find it quite comfortable. So these are a bestseller of mine, and lots of people ask me how I make them, and lots of makers have trouble with having the velvet stay nice. So it's just tension is key when you're making these, and then the tie off at the end to make sure that it stays together and you hide the end really well. Thanks everybody for watching my first video. I appreciate it, and I look forward to making more videos for you in the future.